Hey, thanks for having us back. This is part of our showcase on some of the items that we sell at Weiss Fire and Safety. Today, we're here talking with Mark Steffen about the Bullard thermal imager line. Mark, thanks for having us here today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Bill.
What do you got for us?
Well, we're going to ring in the new year, and for 2022, Bullard has two brand new products, basically through the Emergency Responder Division for the Kansas Fire Service through Weiss Fire and Safety. The first of which is our new thermal imager called the Bullard TXS. It's quite unique for Bullard. We've never had a camera this small, this lightweight, and at this price point. But essentially, its features are, it's one button operation, one button on and off, so simplicity always with Bullard. A 3.5-inch viewing screen, which has become the standard in the industry. More than one person can interpret. It's also not a situational imager. It actually qualifies as a decision-making imager or a frontline imager. So it's capable of interior fire attack climates, if you will. Uses lithium-ion batteries. Each battery runs the imager for 6 hours continuously. The imager comes with 2 batteries, and a truck charger is available as well. This is the truck charger, fairly small footprint. We'll provide a close-up of this version of this truck charger here in a moment. But again, simplicity, runtime, 3.5-inch screen, 1.6 pounds.
So the reason that they came out with the TXS is a little lighter weight and some other functionalities compared to some of the older models that are out there, right?
That's correct, Bill. This is the first thermal imager that Bullard has manufactured with the 3.5-inch screen at this price point, and it complements the product line of the existing product line of the Bullard QXT and NXT, which are considered top-of-the-line imagers and have led the industry for years. There's a deployment model strategy that utilizes these for additional imagers within your truck and for your jump seats and personnel, and this remains the first out imager, and that's the ideal situation for today's fire departments. For volunteer departments that have limited funds, again, the TXS is fully capable of interior fire attack and colorizes exactly the same function as the QXT and NXT and the entire Bullard product line.
I know that the QXT and the NXT have some accessories that the TXS does not have. Maybe go over some of those accessories and talk about that real quick.
Certainly. So the TXS camera is simply a one-button imager with no additional features available, although colorization is standard. So easy, simplicity, easy interpretation, if you will. The QXT and NXT offer zoom. They offer the electronic thermal throttle feature from Bullard. They offer recording capabilities.
Mark, with the TXS, I know that it's lighter weight and it has a lot of the same functions. Maybe talk about that colorization real quick that's in both of the cameras.
Yes, so the Bullard colorization scheme has been standardized for years. 0 to 500 degrees is white hot on both of these imagers and all Bullard imagers that colorize, if you will. Yellow comes in at 500 degrees Fahrenheit, orange comes in at 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and at 1000 degrees Fahrenheit, red is introduced into the camera.
And why is 500 degrees kind of a benchmark?
500 degrees at 5 minutes is what's utilized for the NFPA test for above the brim eye protection on your fire helmet. And that's one of the first pieces of personal protective equipment to fail. Therefore, Bullard takes that into account, and there's a conversation in the fire service about earlier colorization. But essentially, if you have a fire situation taking place, you don't want colorization on the screen all the time. You want a warning mechanism that shows you the advancement of danger and the advancement of that fire. And thus we use 500, 800, 1000 degrees, yellow, orange, and red progressively. Ease of interpretation, the colors only appear once in the operational stages of the imager.
I know that the cameras use what's called an engine or a processor or something like that. Maybe talk about that real quick on how the Bullard cameras utilize that.
Certainly. The engine, the core, or the motor is what they're known on the street as, but the focal plane array would be the formal name, or the sensor of the most expensive device in the camera that processes and gives the display or the image on the liquid crystal display. That's a very expensive component to replace. It's important that it's insulated well from heat and also insulated, or if you will, waterproof or watertight. Water intrusion is the #1 reason for imager failure.
Tell us a little bit about the durability of the camera itself.
Yes, so these imagers again are designed as decision-making imagers. Worst case situation, worst case environment, they will operate, they will survive. And this is, again, an issue with the fire service with different levels of quality and different levels of expectations from an imager. So we insulate these extremely well. Shock resistance is outstanding. These are high quality, first-rate items.
So there's a lot of different applications that these cameras can be used in, obviously, and I know that some of these can be utilized by safety officers or incident commanders outside the structure. Do you have any insight on that, where these could be utilized by those individuals?
Certainly. Either one of these cameras is fully capable of interior fire attack, but also useful for hazmat and outdoor search and rescue, and a 360 around the structure for a battalion chief to arrive. If you could put one of these in the seat of each battalion chief or in their vehicle, they have full capability, and they can hand it off for interior fire attack if necessary as people arrive.
I know these have lots of applications for inside structures. What about outside for wildland fires and those type of incidents?
Well, there's certainly an application there for either imager. The electronic thermal throttle feature available on the QXT and NXT can colorize certain temperature ranges blue in color, blue shaded or gradient color. The other side of the story is that these imagers typically have a 40 to 50 degree field of view. It's a very wide field of view, designed primarily for interior fire attack, but they're extremely useful for outdoor search and rescue and large area search. The imager does not care about sun or nighttime, if you will. They simply process heat signatures when turned on. So your legibility can be affected by the sun on the screen and what have you, and shading the screen will certainly help with that definition. But the imager processes 24/7 when turned on, simply heat signatures left for your interpretation. Field of view is 3 feet to infinity. So the larger the target, the greater the distance that you're going to be able to pick that up. The closer you get to the target, the clearer the image quality. Therefore, they're extremely useful for outdoor search and rescue and wildland fires.
Talk about battery life.
Both of these imagers have lithium-ion batteries. The QXT and NXT have internal lithium-ion batteries that operate the imager for 8 hours continuously when new, and after 5 years, guaranteed to operate the imager for 6 hours continuously, or Bullard will replace the battery at no charge. The TXS has removable lithium-ion batteries right here. Again, they operate the imager for 6 hours continuously. There are 2 batteries provided with each imager. Therefore, you have 12 hours of operational time if both batteries are fully charged. So outstanding operational time, outstanding charge time through smart charging technology, if you will. And the QXT and NXT imager feature, if you will, an inductive coil pickup truck charger. So there are no springs or contacts between the imager and the charger. They simply pair like your phone pairs to a headset. QXT and NXT truck charger, 1 button release, very positive locking mechanism. LED lights around this gray ring. White when powered, blue when the camera pairs with the charger. Remember, this is inductive coil pickup. There are no physical contacts here. And amber if there's any sort of fault. Very robust, very well built. Includes a jack on the side if you want to pole mount or bench mount this charger as well. In addition, if you have a truck that goes out of service, USB cord is provided with the QXT and NXT with charging capabilities.
So I see you have a lanyard attached to the camera. You mind going over the uses of that in a fire?
Great question, Bill. Bullard typically does not build the battery function into the handle. Handles hang up on doors and windows and what have you in firefighting. Essentially, this makes it a lighter imager. We're dependent upon the lanyard for periodic use and retraction back to your SCBA or your bunker gear.